Call to order. And is there a motion on the minutes?
Motion to approve. Second.
All in favor or any discussion? All in
No.
favor? Okay, thank you. All right. Strategic plan discussion.
It's me. Can we start?
Sure.
So the strategic plan was posted to the website on December 8th. It's the first draft that we're looking at. And it's one of the board goals for the year, 5-year strategic plan. There are 5 targets: student achievement, people, facility operations, community engagement, safety, and security. Right now, we have live a survey for input on the current draft as it exists, and that will be live until January 11th. So it's about a week more time. We just sent out another reminder to folks, I think it was either yesterday or today, depending on what building, for folks to give input, and we've got some good responses, but we've got more responses from our staff than we have from people outside of the staff. So we're really looking to get folks to give more input on that as it looks. After, on the 11th, at the very end of the day, it will be shut off. We will pull all of that information, all the input from the surveys, and work through it, putting together another draft to go out for folks to look at. Let me see if I can get the right date for that. Yep.
Can I ask you what you said, a reminder just went out either today or yesterday, depending, who would that have come, like, did that come from yourself?
It came out on the constant contacts to families. So if folks were set up in constant contact, if they
Yeah.
signed up for those newsletters, it would have come out from the buildings, all 4 buildings. pushed
Okay,
it.
so it would have said like Memorial School or high school.
Yeah, yes, but it's still sitting there. The link to the survey is on the website. I'm just quickly pulling up, because we've got a tentative time frame for all of this. And, you know, everything's changing. We're trying to flex with everything that's going on. But as it stands right now, survey will close at the end of the day on the 11th of January. We will be pulling all of that data, reviewing it, making revisions, and trying to figure out what needs to change in the plan and rewriting it. With those suggestions put in there, we will be putting out a revised draft on January 24th. That's the goal right now. Barring anybody else getting sick, barring, you know, blizzards or whatever could possibly happen, but we're going to work as quickly as we can to get it turned back around so that it can go out for folks to look at again,
Okay.
taking into account the first set of input. There'll be a survey going out with that copy as well for folks to respond to. And I know that Tom had mentioned that you had wanted to get more community input and focus groups and things like that. And I don't know, especially with what's going on with everybody getting sick, how we would be able to do that. Bringing people in, those kinds of things. I know we've got, you know, surveys out. We could do Zoom meetings. I don't know if that's something we want to set up and put links out there for that too. There's a couple of different ways we could look at that. Because we're shooting to have a final draft sent to the board the first week of February, so that the second meeting in February, which right now I think is the 16th, the board would vote to adopt what there is. So we're playing with, we've got about a month and a week or so to work with this. And I know that Tom had wanted to have a draft developed for folks to respond to. It's not the traditional way of doing a strategic plan. He wanted to sort of flip it upside down and say, okay, let's put this together so folks have something to respond to, instead of starting with the focus groups, which would have been similar to the way we did the portrait of a graduate. So it seems a little bit different. But that's what we're looking at for timelines. And I don't know, I don't know what you folks think and how you'd want to help us get some more input.
How are you receiving community input at the moment? How are you-
We are, if I pull up what we've currently got for input, and I've actually got it all color coded for myself. So we've got a lot of staff, like I said, there's a lot of staff responses to it. Maybe, just looking at it quickly, 15 or 20 people who are not staff, and this includes community members, that would include, yeah, community members and graduates. And then we've got another set of parents, that looks like it's about another 15 people there in that group
Only 15 parents.
for now, right?
Has that, anybody know if that's been posted on any of the Facebook pages? I think Annie posted
Annie
it.
tried to post it,
And
Annie tried to post it last night, but the links weren't working, so then she posted it again. But I definitely think if we could post it to more of
Yeah.
the Facebook groups.
Yeah,
Hmm.
I'm not in all of them, I mean,
I'm not in a lot of them
There's-
because I left when I became
Yeah.
a board member, but I can,
We had another pile come in tonight. Well, during the day today, we had another pile come in. So right now, we're at about 270 total responses.
oh,
But the first, say, because we have the teachers, all the teachers and support staff have to do that, so I would say the first, probably
So like
180 are staff and teachers, and then that other additional 100 or so include parent guardians of current students, parent guardians of former students, graduates, community members, yeah.
well, when this gets brought to the school board, or at some point, is that information feedback? Will it be, brought to the school board or in a plan to the public, or will anybody see those responses outside of the
So-
administration?
So the administrators are gonna look at it and pull it apart and try to figure out if there are sort of trends or things that they want.
Yeah.
It would be available for the board to look at, if the board wants to look at it, but if you look at the survey, there's a lot of, do you agree? Does it make sense to you? What other feedback do you have on the objectives? What other suggestions do you have? And so some of it is just like, it's none, 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 it's well written, it makes sense. Sometimes it's just blank and only a few of the questions are answered. The board could look at it. Based on, what we get from this, we will put it into the next version, put that out, and it will be another survey that'll be different, it'll be tailored to that version.
Yeah, and I just wonder, in terms of getting out to community too, like, I just wonder, if the community knew, like, we went from this to that because of the input, like, because I feel like sometimes people might say, well, why did you guys put this in there? That makes no sense. Well, if you look at the feedback that we got, this is what was requested. And then too, maybe that might help people, to understand that their input is valued and that when they do give feedback, that's what's happening. So if we're getting little responses, your chances that your feedback's probably gonna get weighed pretty heavy, but that really does make a difference when people do that. So I'm just wondering if at some point in the process that we just show people, this is the feedback that we're getting. These are the comments. I just wonder if people might.
I think that, and that's what we did with the portrait of the graduate, like we sent out a few different drafts. And I still do think we should do focus groups, even though we might only be able to do them on Zoom. I do think that some community members will join. I think some parents would join if we did it at like maybe 8 in the morning, like when we, the same time we used to do like the
Mhm.
coffees.
So we could look at scheduling a few of those.
But for people, but I mean, more for the people who aren't going to join those meetings, I think. And is some of the verbiage that was used in the portrait of the graduate, I know I saw was like sparking some controversy. But I don't know the whole story of it, but if you go back in time, I feel like it was specifically written that way because of feedback that was given. But I think it was also pre-COVID. So I think that there's been so much has happened since then.
Yep.
But sometimes it's like, well, we did it this way because of X, Y, Z, your input. And sometimes it's hard even for me to look back at something that I did a couple of months ago and be like, oh, why did I do that? To be reminded, oh, we did it this way because just a lot, but I think a lot's changed since.
I think because there's basically 5 sections, and what my plan is to take, because there's just so much information to deal with, and we're dealing with time crunches. I was going to take the feedback and basically split it up by topic. So there would be like the people topic or the community topic, and assign it to an administrative team in a building.
Yeah,
So maybe the high school administrative team would take one section. I could have them go through it and write up something that says, we saw these trends, we are suggesting these revisions, and attach that to the revision as a separate document that says, okay, the feedback that came back said that there was not enough emphasis on, I don't know, vocabulary or something. So we added a target that talked about vocabulary, or, there was too much emphasis on parent groups and not enough emphasis on outside community member groups coming into the buildings, or something like that. So we could actually have them write that up and have that be on a separate document. In addition to, here's version 2, here's, a document that'll walk you through why those changes were made. So we could actually do that.
I think that would be
Because then that way, at least it would be succinct and we could handle that.
right,
And then it would just be like you're saying, so we could remember like, well, why did we change that?
right.
Well, we changed that because people were saying this, oh, okay, so there's the threat. So we could do that.
And we do
Yeah.
that with policies now, when
Yep.
when we're reviewing them.
Yeah.
So I think that makes a lot of sense.
And I agree too with your comment on, the focus groups. I'm not sure how those have been chosen in the past, but I mean, I feel like, I don't know if everyone who signed up just automatically got in. Is that sort of how it works, or not, but if,
So when we did Portrait of a Graduate, it was sort of like an open call, I remember, but then we also have to do a lot of begging and pleading and cajoling of people to, can you, if we schedule it on this day at this time, can you
Right.
join us then, if we do this? So we could look for a combination of that, and maybe have that come after the second version. While people are giving feedback, we could have the focus groups around the second version, because that would give us time to figure out how to arrange this.
okay,
It would happen at the end of January. We could at least set this up and get the information out and have people
Yeah.
just, because on a Zoom call, we really are not worried about room. We don't need to find a
Right.
big enough space for everybody.
Yeah.
Like, suddenly you're having it in the gymnasium and nobody can hear each other.
right,
And what we could do is put them into breakout rooms and have the
And that's what we
breakout
did.
rooms.
Yeah.
That's what we did for COVID in the fall of 2020.
Yeah,
Like, was it, or, yeah.
yeah, for the
Yeah,
plan,
yeah.
yeah.
as much as I'm not a Zoom fan, I think that's a good
And
idea.
at least
Yeah,
have
we had-
them.
And we get as many people,
And we had small groups.
yeah, and you can really open it up to as many people. I think you're gonna be restricted by the people that say, oh, this time doesn't work for me, or what, no matter what, somebody's not gonna like the time, but then you can really open it up, and then you can do your
Shuffle
focus groups,
people
or
around, right,
however people come in, I think.
I think if we can run it like the ones we did for COVID, we
Yeah.
had a staff, a teacher from each grade, we
Yeah.
had administrators, we had parents. I think we had board members, we had some community members, we had facilities, like we had, like,
We can get a
each-
good cross section of
each
folks, yeah.
focus group. So we were a large group, but then when we were broken into each group, we had a lot of those people. So
Mhm.
like, something from a parent perspective was different than from a teacher perspective, or like, you know what I mean? We were able to do all that.
So we could look at
And
figuring out how to schedule.
It's
that,
nice to
yeah.
have those people mixed up, though.
Yeah,
As a parent, it's nice to hear what the teacher thinks, or
Yeah.
what a community member, or someone whose child's been through school system.
Yeah.
It's nice for us to all get mixed up and hear other people's opinions.
so we could work on putting in some focus groups, or a focus group, and split it up into.
Yeah.
Roles tonight.
I would suggest at least a couple different times.
Yes.
If you're gonna do a morning,
Yeah.
it's not gonna work for most working people, so I would
Yeah.
try to have at least
What about 12 o'clock? But I don't know if with people telecommuting, do people still take like a 12 o'clock lunch, you know?
But yeah, I agree with Timmy, if you're gonna have like three of them, can you do an 8 o'clock, a 12 o'clock, and a 5 o'clock, or
6 o'clock.
right? That'll fit anyone's schedule. Because for me as a working parent, even though I work normal business hours, I prefer to do it during the day. 'Cause once I get home to my house, it's chaos and carting my kids around, but I understand for a lot of people, they don't have that flexibility that I do, that maybe they can't do a call during the day.
So we'll look, I'll talk to the administrative team. And we'll try to figure out what works and maybe have different people sort of chair the different times.
Yeah.
And we can gather some input.
That
Yeah.
sounds good.
And then that should, hopefully that'll keep us to the timeline, and even if we have to push when we send the final draft to you, as long as you get it a week before the last meeting, that should give you folks enough time to, because right now I've got it like February 5th, but if I have to push that to like the 10th, that should give folks enough time on the board to. Right.
Yeah, we only need so much time.
Is it-
I think a week is a fair amount of time.
Okay.
If you give me 2 weeks, I'll probably wait until the last week to look at it.
Is our February schedule meeting schedule impacted by break or school
Oh,
break?
yeah, that's a good point.
This year?
School break is the 28th through March, something around
Yeah, it's
that.
actually more into March this year.
Oh, the
than
first
February.
one, yeah, the first. It's gonna be impacted then.
So
Oh,
so I can adjust the timeline with folks and, yeah, I'll be in touch with the three of you, and we can
Yeah.
figure out how to push this stuff out so that we can, get folks.
Right, that's the challenge, that's always the challenge. Publicizing it to as many people as possible.
Right.
I mean, if we get enough notice of even just the Zoom link, we can start maybe putting it out, and we can also put it, you know, maybe in the carriage down.
And I think too, one of the things we did with that COVID planning, we kept the meeting tight. It was like an hour and 15 minutes and we were done. And if people knew we were gonna start on time and end on time, and this was all the time that we were gonna be pulling out of them, it
Right,
wasn't gonna be this endless
right.
conversation. It's good because they can do maybe an hour. an
I
hour
think
and
you
15
structured
minutes.
something,
Yeah.
like you had, like, these are the areas we want to look at.
Yeah, we can do that.
Yeah, I was on some of those calls, I think that worked out really well. I think that's a good idea.
It was such a long time ago. My God. Yeah, I was still home. I'm like, God, I don't remember doing this. Yeah.
Yeah, we were all home, we were all
Yeah.
working from our, remember, we were all working from our kitchens.
Yeah.
Thank you. I didn't actually put the agenda together, so number 4, discussion of past PR recommendations. I'm not. Did you put that on the agenda? Okay, maybe Tom.
I got
was
put on
supposed
this
to- Phyllis
agenda
put it together.
the other day. I don't know. Oh,
I wasn't at the last meeting, so I'm not, I mean, I'm looking at the minutes, it doesn't seem like, I think the strategic plan and the focus group is really what we've been focusing the most on.
Typically, at this time of year, we're talking about publicizing, it's gonna be on the warrant and getting our message out there so that people understand, why the warrant articles are what they are, and asking for their support. So I'm not sure if that's what that refers to, but, that's also something that we probably want to make sure we cover. It's January, so the public hearing will be coming up. I don't know, when is the public hearing? The
Is that
hearing.
February 6th?
That's a, is that? the-
Or,
that's-
no, I'm not, I'm
Public
sorry.
hearing's usually in January.
No, you're right.
Last year it was really.
I think it's January 11th. Because I have BudCom, I have BudCom in
I thought I
my
had a
calendar for
calendar on
January
there.
11th. So I think it could be wrong, but I know that's when we have our. It's in the-
Should be in the.
It must be on my calendar. Oh, what's this 11th? okay, public hearing, January 11th.
All right, so
You're right.
next Tuesday.
Yes,
Is the public hearing for. We can at least state that, I suppose, up to the public.
and then the snow date is the 12th.
All right. Okay, I wonder- That's on our board agenda?
I don't think it is, because I think that the agenda tonight just says the next meeting's on the 19th.
Okay,
Now that you say that,
all right.
that's something we should probably bring up, address tonight, that was not on the agenda for tonight.
Yeah,
Because
probably.
I guess I'm not. Does the school board go to that meeting? Are they up on the stage or they just go if they
No.
want? Okay, all right,
No, they're not, they're just the budget committee.
Okay.
Yeah, just says
Okay.
our next school board meeting's the 19th, and it talks about the filing.
yeah, okay, yeah, so
Opens
it's not,
January 19th and ends January 28th.
okay. All right,
At our next month's meeting, that's when we would probably want to talk about what, if any, public, publicity
mhm.
we want to do for the vote for voting.
So I'm sorry, when do we find out about what the warrant articles are?
The warrant articles are on our agenda for tonight.
For
actually.
tonight, because I'm not seeing it on the agenda tonight. Yeah, for some reason I thought I saw it, now I'm not. They get taken out with the revised one.
It might be in the folder.
It says approved and recommended warrant articles, but it's not hyperlinked, so we'll probably get that folder.
I'm sorry, but where do you see, what item number is it?
It is item.
Oh,
number
I'm
7,
sorry, it's 7, yeah.
New business.
Okay,
So anyway, so let's. I feel like we're done.
Okay,
So
yeah.
is our
Talk about
next
what our
meeting?
next meeting is. It will be February 2nd. Yeah.
Yes.
Were you like, how do I know that?
All right. Okay, unless there's anything else, anybody have anything else?
No.
We're adjourned.
Okay.
Thank you.